Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In the age of smart cities, calls for sustainable designs, resilient infrastructure, and green establishments. When the infrastructure commitments are so high, the need for competent technologies to aid the process is imperative. The answer lies in intuitive software solutions for infrastructure design and planning. With the right solution in place, civil and infrastructure firms can enhance their decisions, drive sustainability in their constructions, and optimize team coordination to deliver the best results. In turn, you will be able to save costs, optimize efforts, and secure construction processes in what will eventually turn into successful project execution. To better understand the challenges and way forward for sustainable infrastructure in the country, let me welcome our esteemed panel of experts comprising Mr. Kausar Jamil Hilali, CEO, Guwahati Metropolitan Development Authority, Mr. Puneet Srivastav, Head, Central Planning Monitoring Group, J. Kumar Infra, Mr. Pradeep Mishra, Chairman and Managing Director, REPL, and Mr. Sunil MK, Country Head, AEC Autodesk. Before we start with the discussion, let me just remind our audience that Mr. Hilali will be joining us shortly. Meanwhile, we can start with our discussion. Let me bring in Mr. Srivastav here. Mr. Srivastav, if I could start this discussion with you. What do you think the focus on sustainability has, do you think, that the focus on sustainability has reached the depths of the infrastructure ecosystem, or is there awareness still to be developed? The awareness is yet to come, we need to say.
Okay, thank you, Megha. First of all, I would like to thank Team ET for providing this platform to discuss and share viewpoints on this very important subject of sustainability. Okay, as we all know, India is a developing country with second largest population in the world. It is very important for all of us to protect its environment and natural resources to meet the basic needs of the current and future generation. In broader terms, if you speak, it means fulfilling the needs of the present generation along with without compromising on the needs of the future generation. So infra growth in India has been very rapid in the past few years. And this is going to play a major role in as we move ahead to a US $5 trillion economy by 2025, and hence the need for sustainable development. Sustainable infrastructure not only enables sound economic development, job creation, along with the other use of, say, local goods and services, it also enhances the quality of life for its citizens, help protect our vital environment and resources, and provides more effective and efficient use of financial resources as well. Okay, now coming to infrastructure projects. As far as infrastructure projects are concerned, the industry has been becoming conscious towards this subject, and all the projects are being designed keeping sustainability in mind nowadays. Also, there has been a big push from the government of India towards this. However, it's equally important to make an individual aware of the need to implement projects in a sustainable manner. Sustainability it should be a part of a curriculum starting from high school up to university levels, so as to make a future generation ready for the challenges as they move towards the world where the economy is growing on a day-to-day basis. So although the sustainability has been a buzzword nowadays, more needs to be done to ensure its population to the ground level. And this is the responsibility of all of us. A regular awareness campaign should be run by various industries to ensure it really percolates down to all. Thank you. That's what I have to say.
So basically you mean to say that we should catch them young. We should actually start from the starting is what you're trying to
Exactly is the point, yes.
Unless we are actually able to inculcate the habit of sustainability amongst the future generation, we will not actually be able to achieve what we are looking at.
What we are talking of, what we are thinking of actually.
Right. So let me bring in Mr. Mishra here, Mr. Pradeep Mishra, who represents the industry, and I'm sure he has been instrumental, and so has his company been towards driving sustainability as far as infrastructure is concerned, and driving sustainability through the use of digital technology. So, if I can ask you, Mr. Mishra, what are the key characteristics of sustainable infrastructure designs of today? What are the key parameters, the designs that are kept in mind while finalizing the infrastructure designs these days?
Thanks, Megha, for inviting me, having me. Uh, Sustainability was always there, but the way we look into sustainable infrastructure changed drastically after 2000, when the internet became the key factor, and the introduction of internet changed the life pre 2000 and post 2000. And the infrastructure sustainability, generally, the three key parameters which define the sustainability are economic sustainability, environmental sustainability, and social sustainability. Uh, Earlier also, this intervention of technologies, digital technologies, people are doing all three process: economic, environmental, social, but those are largely on manual basis. Once the technology, the digital part is entered, the optimization has seen a different height. If you see some example to explain it, that 20 years back, the flight ticket between Delhi to Mumbai is same. Now the airports are very beautiful, very comfortable. Fuel prices are almost 10 times higher than what it was 20 years back. And still the ticket price has gone down. So this infrastructure, the infrastructure, airport infrastructure in Delhi and Mumbai, they become more optimum. The economic part is become more optimum because of use of digital technology. Right from handling the power supply in airport to flow of AC, to flow of water, everything is governed by technology. And ultimately that optimization also result in the environmental side. When we use lesser energy to do same thing, the environmental effect will certainly be better. And social sustainability is also because the use of technology, digital technology, the cost goes down. Lot number of people which were earlier not able to use a particular service, they can use now. Even if you see the education, education is again a social infrastructure. By the introduction of badges and all these technologies there, even this conference, education through VC and all these calls. So the technology played a very, very critical role in transforming the way we look into the infrastructure pre-2000 and now post-2000.
So you interestingly mentioned about these three important pillars of economy, environment, and social impact. Before I bring in Mr. Sunil MK for his comments on this, I would again ask you, Mr. Mishra, could you share some of the use cases where infrastructure design has been benefiting from the use of technology, and where all these three aspects, the economic aspect, the environment aspect, the social aspect, has been addressed?
Two very current and live examples are there. One is smart cities, another is any green building which are designed. So one example is at the building level, another is at a town level, city level. At the town level, in almost all smart cities, we have also done 8 smart cities for government as a consultant. So the main program is to establish a command and control center. And through that command and control center, 10 critical elements are introduced which were not there earlier. First is surveillance. The surveillance system are now online, and each and every part of every city covered in a smart city are covered. Through face recognition, through vehicle number and movement, and everything is now captured, which helps in the movement and traffic flow and management of a town. Second part is smart parking. Whether you go to airport or any busy area, the parking are now smart parkings. You can see the number of the slots available for parking and at which level that parking is available, whether you go to mall or whether you go to airport, it is there. And then smart lighting. The lighting to reduce the use of power, the requirement and the lux factor of lighting is governed by this technology. And then solid waste management. The movement of waste from starting point to the end treatment point is digitally monitored and tracked. And then traffic management, intelligent traffic management. Environmental impact management. They are the centers located at various locations in city where they can capture the air quality, rainfall data, and number of other data, sound level, and number of other data. And then SCADA. SCADA is a technology where give you detailed information, the flow of water in the drinking water pipe, sewerage drainage system, to optimize the flow and to maximize the use of water. So practically the use of water was earlier, before all the system, is 150 liter per day per person. Now, because of these technologies, it is come down as per code also to 80 liter per person per day. So that is the beauty of technology. Then GIS and e-governance. Now you can do your RTO and all this activity online itself. And all these parameters, 10 parameters combined together and through a backbone, digital backbone, form a process which is called command and control center, and the combined then process become a one project, all 10. And this platform become the spinal cord of a city. It create data grid to view, monitor, analyze, and take a relevant decision. And this program is implemented in all 100 smart cities in India, pan country. We have also implemented in 8 cities. So this is one of the latest digital intervention in city level infrastructure to optimize the use of each and every resource available at a city level and to maximize the output. This is one of my experience.
Great, great insight actually. Now, if I can bring in Mr. Sunil MK, he's the country head AEC Autodesk. Mr. MK, how does technology and digital tools, according to you, aid sustainable design and decisions and execution of these projects? And if I can actually continue with the points that have been raised by Mr. Mishra as far as economy, environment, and social impact, etc., is concerned, if you could tell us the technology and digital tools in actually collaboration or in synergy with these principles that Mr. Mishra has talked about.
Right. Thanks, Megha. And I think I just want to welcome everybody. Good afternoon. Thanks for this opportunity. Hi, Mr. Pradeep and Puneet. Nice to be here. And to all the attendees, very good afternoon. I'm an architect by training. So building an AEC industry is very close to my heart. And construction industry, generally, I think everybody know this fact that generate over a third of global waste, right? And that cuts across the every country in a way. And this volume is expected to kind of double by 2025. So reducing the impact on the built environment is mission critical. And it's great to see that a lot of companies today have sustainability as one of the pillar in their business. You know, that's good to know. And I interact with a lot of sustainability leader across, and that's something new that we never used to do before. And this is very much the need, right? So this industry actually needs to transform its processes and workforce through digital tools and put climate first, right? It is important with depletion of all the natural resources that's happening in climate change that we see on a daily basis. And we need to do this for the planet that we live in and for the people and, of course, the businesses we run on a daily basis, right? Our software platform that we actually, I think companies use our solution. It's imperative that we provide solution that enable sustainability at the core, right? So they use our products on a daily basis, whether it is 2D products or 3D products. So we believe that our software can help automate complex processes and transform data into actionable insights and empower innovators to improve the processes overall, right? So whatever they design, make, own, and operate, right? So data insight would help you to do that better. So the tools that they use on a daily basis should be able to provide. And we, I think, are doing that as our mission, right? So we are providing that tools. And we have also enabled our customer with cloud solutions and connected data environment to basically fuel the innovation across technology, processes, supply chain, across industries, right? And this opportunity is actually accelerating, and the kind of things that I see on a daily basis, the way industry is moving towards, there is a convergence that's happening in AEC industry. Today, buildings and infrastructure are hardly constructed, it is manufactured, right? So it is imperative that the tools that we use actually helps you in those processes much more seamlessly. So you are actually connecting built environment manufacturing process, a building that will be so all the elements that go into building is somewhere manufactured, brought back to the construction site, assembled to give you a product, right? So if we can improve the entire process, look at how much we can actually save in terms of material, labor, and time, and eventually help the industry to be better in actually managing their sustainability goals.
Actually, I have two follow-up questions to what you have mentioned. Very interesting points you've made. One, that you said that they're not, that they are manufactured. If you could explain what exactly do you mean by that they're manufactured. B, you also mentioned you made an interesting point that A, you're an architect yourself. And so if I can ask you, as an architect, when you design an infrastructure project or any project for that matter, how do you ensure that you are keeping this climate first and solid waste management as these important themes in mind when you're designing it? So first question is about the manufacturing, and then
yeah. So it's very simple, actually. I passed out architecture in 1990 and started to build. At that time, some of the products that I knew was brick, cement, mortar, wood, that's it, right? But today, look at the building itself, how complex things have become, what kind of new materials are being used in some of the buildings that you see, that airports that you fly into or fly off, or all the new age flyovers that's coming, the metro projects, you name it, right? So everything, if you look carefully, the ceilings, the roof, the tiles, the carpet, the doors, windows, they're all manufactured today. It is not something that is, in 90s, we would have carpenters sitting and first making door windows, and then masons coming, making the brick wall, then you have a casting that goes on, then you fit all these door windows. Today, that doesn't happen, right? It is also, it is important that the design tool that I use as an architect has some sort of connectivity with the manufacturing process. So let's assume that I put curtain wall in my building. That curtain wall has to be manufactured. So I should be able to send the data because I've already designed everything in as an architect, I can send it to the manufacturer. He takes it and says, okay, fine, now I need to manufacture it in the factory. So he can take the form, shape, and all of that, and doesn't have to rework on it, because he can just continue the work that I have done and manufacture it the way I have conceived the design. And after the manufacturing, I can even track when it has to be brought to the site, so that I can eliminate the whole idea of loading and unloading and storing, right? I can bring in the principle of just-in-time manufacturing into the world of construction, just-in-time construction. The material is brought when it has to be fitted, thereby reducing loss to a lot of wastage or time and cost that goes into it. So that's one, when we talk about convergence between convergence of building and manufacturing industry, right? And you see, look around the metro project, the columns, beams, and everything is actually precast. It's a manufacturing process built off-site, and you bring it and you just assemble, right? Today, one whole beam is brought and you can put it over at night, and the whole segment is done. And the speed at which these projects are being completed much ahead of what it was done 10 years or 20 years back. So things have improved. You hear about 70, 100 kilometers of road done in a day, things like that. And it was absolutely not possible. It is actually the new age construction process, which includes robotics, right? So earlier, okay, I have extra people, so I'm going to dig, and I may take a week to dig the hole, but today that doesn't happen. I bring an excavator and maybe I'll finish that in an hour's time. So you actually bring robotics in play. So that's whole process of reducing time and optimizing the construction process and time to delivery. Now coming to design, that as an architect, when I use these tools, BIM, building information modeling, is a process, and the product that supports within our country is Revit and Civil 3D. So what it does is you're actually working with real world components. So I actually place a wall, I place a window cuts into the wall, it reduces the volume from the wall volume, and all of those kind of things. It's all done by the machine. So you don't make as human being, you don't make a mistake, because all calculations are done by the machine, right? So when I have those kind of data, what this leads to is accuracy in terms of volumes and stuff like that, all the building quantities. So that enables me to save material. It is earlier when I was practicing in 90s, I would actually factor 10% more material, 10% more cost, right? And that's to actually take care of this kind of mistakes and contingencies to allow me for all those maybe some mistakes that happen. With digital BIM kind of process, you eliminate that. And there is another factor here. It is about taxes that we pay, and these taxes are actually used to build infrastructure that's at least the public infrastructure, right? And what did we have earlier? Infrastructure projects are always delayed, cost overrun. Can we do that with public money? You can't, right? We have very little. So it is imperative that we should be prudent, and we should actually manufacture more with less, right? We have no room to actually waste taxes of the money of the people. So we should use digital tools for all the infrastructure projects we do and maximize the money and build more projects with less. That's kind of the economics when we think about it, right?
Okay, let me bring Mr. Srivastav back to this discussion. Mr. Srivastav, before I ask you about the challenges that are there in the use of digital technology in infrastructure, because everything comes at a price. Even if it is digital technology, it saves time. It has actually fast-tracked the pace of the project, pace of construction. I'm sure it comes with its set of challenges as well. Before I ask you about the challenges that are there, another thing that I would want to ask you is that currently, would you say that the technology investment has been sufficient in the infrastructure industry, the investment aspect, which is expected to be more? But at current levels, do you see it at an optimum level?
See, in today's modern world, technology has started playing very important role. Let's understand that, and let's agree to that as well. Okay, but unfortunately, in comparison to the other industries, infrastructure sector has not embraced the full potential of the latest techniques and the tools. The use of advanced project management tools ensure that the projects are, completed much on schedule, apart from the other advantages what they have.
Hmm.
Still, what I feel, what I have been seeing, what I've been observing is that all major infra players have started recognizing this aspect at least, and have started investing in the technology to support their project teams, even though in a smaller way, but they have started investing. Now, technology, maybe it in the form of virtual reality, augmented reality, maybe use of UVs, UAVs, and drones, and like what Sunil was saying, BIMs. No, you name it, and the big infra projects, the companies are recognizing their importance. So, of course, there's much more to be done, but at least we have made a start. And I'll give you an example. For example, one of the biggest reasons for project delay in infrastructure projects is due to discrepancies, between the initial project survey when it is done and the actual ground survey when we go on field. The use of drones for surveying has bridged this gap quite big, and we are in turn saving a lot of time and a lot of cost on that behalf. Because otherwise, the design needs to be wholly changed and everything needs to go for a toss. But now, with a lot of things are happening with use of technology. Of course, the biggest challenge, as what you were mentioning earlier, is that using these technology tools are awareness and the need and the willpower to implement them. See, Government of India is helping in pushing these technologies while implementing major infra projects across India. And the more you use it, the more adaptability is there, the more widespread use will be there. It's very simple. And timely implementation of projects will ultimately going to save huge amount of taxpayers' money, as what Sunil was saying. And then maybe that money can be used somewhere else as well. So, and we at JKumar, we always believe in adoption of new technologies as well as implementation of the new plant and machineries. And basically that is what we differentiate between us being a contractor to an urban infra developer. Maybe we have got a modern fleet of equipment bank, we got 7 tunnel boring machines, 2 shuttle carriers, a lot of other equipments as well. So we have been doing sustainable investment in cutting edge technology, but ultimately the awareness and the will to implement and to use these is going to drive the future.
And Mr. Mishra, as an industry player, as a formidable player who is in infrastructure and who has been using and continue to use cutting edge technology for the betterment of not just the sector, the company, but also saving time and cost for all the stakeholders involved. Do you also agree with that? And do you also agree that the challenge, one of the biggest challenges, lie in creating awareness about the use of modern technology?
In the best part of the modern technology, that n number of players on the same project can work at the same time, which helps in optimizing the design and execution at ground level. One of the technology which is now very commonly used in India in last 5-6 years is a BIM technology. So Sunil must be the expert of that part, but the BIM is a tool which helps n number of stakeholders working together on the same project, right from conceptualization level to design, detailed design, execution at ground, and then at the level of maintenance and execution at ground. So right from 2D to 6D, 7D, and up to 10D, the flow is there, and all type of stakeholder, whether it's a contractor or a designer or a structure consultant, they are working simultaneously on the same tool. So this collaborative movement, which happened because of the digitalization of working environment, this gave a lot of benefit in reducing the execution time period, accuracy of the execution of the project, and knowing the pain level of other stakeholders in the same project. The BIM is very recent addition in this field in India, though it is compulsory in Singapore and in England, but in India it is not yet made compulsory, but large projects and large contractors and designers are using it.
Okay, so if I can again bring in Mr. Sunil MK, accuracy is always the positive side of using technology, accuracy, bringing and saving cost. But as you said, there are, as has been mentioned by the other panelists also, that there lies certain challenges as well. And since you said that a lot of countries like Mr. Mishra said that a lot of countries like Singapore have made it compulsory. What stops India from making it compulsory for the infrastructure sector here? And if that has not been done, what could be the reason? Do we not have the wherewithal to implement that kind of technology? Do we not have enough and more players who can deliver those technological advancements that have taken place? What exactly are the challenges for us as a country in implementing that cutting edge technology, which is prevalent across the developed nations?
Singapore is a small country, but of course, India is much larger.
It's the showcase country, if we can say that.
So, but I would not say that we haven't made progress. As we speak today, there are multiple efforts that is going on at the government level for policy work with NITI Aayog. We are also involved working with NITI Aayog and various other government ministries. But let's leave that alone, right? But what I'm trying to say, Mr. Puneet said it, Mr. Pradeep also talked about it. You take today all the prominent projects, right? You take airports, Airport Authority has mandated BIM as a process for all the new airports that's being built. So whether there's a policy or not, organizations are doing it, right? You talk about DMRC, the metro projects, almost all metro projects are using, you see BIM is on the foundation of design, but look at the construction process itself has evolved over time, right? As I said, now precast is there, which was not prevalent earlier. Robotics is playing an important role. Projects are getting done at much faster pace. So I think the government is doing a lot at a ground level, which we don't see. But I think there is, of course, when you say a lot can be done, right? So, but how much is like there is, but I think with such a large nation, I think the progress is happening. A lot of people are involved. Many construction companies, I think, are in forefront of digitalization process. That I know there are projects that I can tell you today, they don't even, in India, I'm not talking about outside, where payments are done not by measuring. You scan the work, you put it on top of the BIM model. If it fits, you make the payment. You don't need to go and measure the quantities, right? But one of the projects that's outside I would like to speak about it is Lusail Stadium in Qatar, where is the opening stadium for FIFA World Cup. There are the beams which are placed, actually, generally they take it up and then they place it at the right position. And a lot of time it has to be brought down because it may not fit properly and stuff like that. So while construction of Lusail Stadium, they scanned the beams that were manufactured in the factory. The scanned beam was put on the BIM model to check whether it fits correctly. Then it was shipped. And then when you put it on the site, there is no mistake. So not a single beam had to be brought down, and the rework was avoided completely. So the tools like BIM is there when you actually come to construction, the 3D scan data, the drones, all of and the robotics is playing a big role in automating the construction process and delivery of the project. And all this leads to optimization. Optimization means sustainability, you're saving, right? Whether you save labor, you save material, you save time, all that is about sustainability. Sustainability in terms is optimization of anything that you do is about becoming more sustainable. So, and of course, the other part, I mean, going beyond sustainability would be actually looking at resilience, right? All this actually leads to things like what we are talking about is about digital twin models, right? Which actually gives you ability to actually look at city in context. So 3D model with data, IoT devices and all of that, the data coming in, you could actually build a resilient city. I'm like, let's take a look at flooding. You can't avoid flooding. It's natural disaster, but then can the city jump back much faster than today? So flooding happens, the drain size and the road and traffic condition, you study that and build for tomorrow. So when it rains, you know that within 3-4 hours, the drainage is proper, the water will recede, and the city can jump back faster than it could. So all the digital tools that people are using and the data and the inferences will help us lead to a better world tomorrow.
So
Right.
essentially, we may not be using it explicitly, but if we actually deploy them to the use that the kind of use that we have, as you mentioned about the floods. Floods is an issue which crops up in this country almost every year, where northern side of northern side of India, southern side of India, eastern or western, anywhere. So to begin with, we can start with this technology to actually be able to control the aftermath of the flood. As you said that we cannot control flood, but we can certainly control the aftermath, or we can certainly improve or reduce the timelines to which we spring back from that disaster that has been faced.
So you can actually look at a building that is, let's say, LEED certified, or just one building. It is neighborhood in a way, or city in a way. So when you connect the buildings and infrastructure together, then you think, how is this buildings performing? The water from the building, the rainwater discharge, do we have the drain that actually takes care of that drainage requirement? Whether the traffic, the roads were built 10 years back, now there are multiple new housing and things that have been built. So the traffic has gone up. So are you simulating for the future on, the traffic condition? So we need to do all that. And I think digitalization will definitely help us overall here.
Certainly. And before I ask you gentlemen to make your final remarks, let me just announce to our audience that Mr. Hilali will not be able to join us because of some urgent, unavoidable situation that he has. He is busy in a meeting. So I think we can move to the closing remarks, and I would start again with Mr. Srivastav for the closing remarks. If you could just wrap up what your views are on this important issue.
Oh, thank you, Megha. Actually, I was just trying to take it forward again from Sunil, because I think we are on the same page. He was talking about the beam being constructed somewhere else and then brought to the stadium and actually airports are the biggest example of using the technology. If you see the amount of services which an airport has, right from being civil, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, IT, automation, etc., a long list of items. There, these technologies, especially the BIM and the reality models, are really helping us to optimize the amount of wastages which are generated under normal circumstances. And we can see the future. We can see what actually we are building. Otherwise there are, in the earlier days, there used to be challenges how to overlap, which services go when, how it is going, how it is running, and all those things. It used to be a challenge. Nowadays, you can actually see a project even before it hits the ground. So everything is available to you before even you start the construction work. Coming to the rebuilding part of it, I think Sudhir mentioned that as well. I was reading an article somewhere that the earthquake in the Auckland, city of Auckland in New Zealand, if you remember, it happened a few years back. Yeah, they used the virtual reality and augmented reality to build back the city in the same fashion where how it actually looked earlier. So they had all those photographs, they had all those models available with them. And so they rebuilt the city in actually the same fashion. Everything came back to square one. So that is why where, we can actually use the technology while we grow, and it is very important. And here again, I'm repeating the awareness and the willpower to use this technology, even though they cost some money today. The hardwares are not easily available, they are costly. But as we go ahead, as we start using more and more, it is going to help us in the long run. That's my closing.
And do you agree with that, Mr. Mishra, or you would like to add something more from your end?
No, I completely agree, but I want to add three things. One is that every city has its own carrying capacity. That is nature. It has its capacity to give water to the resident or to carry drain water out of the city, or uh, earthquake or flood or whatever. Every city has its own carrying capacity. To maximize the utilization within that limit is the role of technology. We use technology to optimize the use within that limit. So the more we use technology and the more collaborative the technology is, the better result we get. The second point I want to add that nowadays, whether whatever loss is a separate thing, but all large infrastructure companies, they are using these technology within their organization automatically without any compulsory note from government, but they are using it. All large contracting company in India, they are using them automatically, whether it is defined in tender document or not. They are doing it. And third point is that the future is the digitalization and optimization. So there are few very good company. Sunil's company is one of the lead player in this business. So whatever we are seeing today, 5 years from now, we will find that we are not that advanced 5 years back. So things are changing very fast.
Absolutely, absolutely. Technology is forever changing, and we have to do the catch up every time
Yes.
there is some kind of advancement. And so, finally, Mr. Sunil MK, if you could share your closing remarks on this subject, a very, very fascinating subject, and something that you're very, very passionate about.
Yeah.
That is what we have gauged in the last 45 minutes or so.
Yeah, it's very close to my heart. In fact, our vision is a better world that is designed and made for all. That's the vision that we have. And for that effect, we actually partner with our customers because they are the people who are building the world, actually. I would say. Every customer out there who's using our solution is building this beautiful world that we use on a daily basis, right? We believe our largest opportunity to create positive impact at scale is supporting our customers. That's by giving them the tools that can help them design, build, and operate the facility better, right? And I think I'm so happy that today a lot of companies, as I told you earlier, have sustainability as a pillar in their business, and I think it's a great opportunity that is out there, and I think we have to work for the future generations that they can live in this world better. So I think that's a great thing. I think people are thinking about sustainability as a business.
Sure, and we have all three of you to thank you for that kind of technology for the future generation. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. So the first question that we have is, what are your thoughts on building information modeling and common data environments? And most of the information for the subject is scattered and siloed with individual stakeholders. So, but only I mean, the design consultant prepare a 3D model, but only share a good for construction drawings with contractors working on the same platform will in transfer of knowledge, improve communication, transparency, and reduce work. So basically, do you feel that design consultants can work together instead of working in silos, can work in synergy for a better outcome? Is what?
Yeah. So all the project where BIM is used, they work in collaboration through cloud platform. So BIM 360 Collaboration Pro is a good example where the model is aggregated and shared, and people see one single source of truth, and that helps them to actually build better together.
Mr. Srivastava, do you have anything to add to this question that has been put up by Mr. Abhishek Sharma? So Mr. Sunil MK has given his views on it. What are your views on this subject?
Nowadays, Megha, even design consultants and contractors use the same technology. So, they're on the same page. It is not that only GFC. GFC means good for construction drawings are issued to the contractors, and only DTCs they have got. Design consultants have a limitation with which had 3D models. So nowadays everybody is using, at least in the mega infrastructure projects, we are all using, even our clients are using, we are using. So everybody is on the same platform. So that makes the construction quite easy even as we go ahead in the construction process.
Okay. There's another question that after drone survey, when engineers reach field, they are unable to identify the landmarks. How do you solve it? This is a very interesting question. Do you want to add something to it, Mr. Mishra? I mean, the question is that the drone survey says something else, and once the engineers reach the field, it is a completely different picture. Is it true? And if so, how do we solve it?
It is not exactly like that. Once after the survey is done, the second party, the client engineer, generally cross-check the.
Okay. What do you have to say?
And based on that cross-checking, the detailed design is made. So designing part is done.
All right. So there are fewer. I mean, it is not completely true that it is from a drone survey. It is something else, and once the drone survey is complete, once you reach the site, it's completely else. It depends on case by case basis. If
only very few cases, otherwise this doesn't normally happens.
Exceptional, basically.
You can also superimpose the drone survey data, which is a 3D point cloud data, on a survey map. So that will actually tell you where exactly you are. And if you are actually have a handheld device, even your mobile phone or iPad or notepad, you are actually walking with a digital tool, and you can know.
Why would somebody experience such a discrepancy to begin with?
No, he's not saying discrepancy. What he's saying
is that drone survey says something in the landmarks.
He's not able to identify the landmark. That's basically because when you actually go in, it's a 25-kilometer drone survey. Then when you go to the site, how do you identify where you are? So nowadays, GPS device will tell you exactly where you are. And if the drone is mapped on a survey data, we have solution like Civil 3D, even Revit can take that, and you can actually know your location. That location can be seen, but I think
your GPS coordinates can be mapped.
Yeah, it has to be. Sunil Kumar can actually call on us. I can assign a technical guide to.
Sure.
Practically, what happened that the equipment has its own lease count, as well as the person who is deciphering the image captured through drone and converting into a drawing. He might also have a capacity to read it and convert it into a drawing. So there might be some error because of machine lease count and because of a person who is converting those data into a drawing. So that might be a human error or lease count error. It's not the case in a general case.
Okay. It needs slight adjustment from the point of view of somebody who's tracking that drone survey and then mapped with the actual land side data is what you're trying to say. The next question we have is from Ravi Teja. The question is that can the technology and digital tools, can they compensate reducing an expensive labor force? Can they, basically what I think he's trying to ask you is that can technology and can the use of technology and digital tools compensate for the reduction, can lead to reduction in expensive labor force?
Yes, yes, of course.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Mishra.
Any of you
Very
can
much.
start, please.
Very much, very much. Because as what Sunil was saying, suppose the beam which has been casted offside, it comes to side, and then you find out that the beam is not sitting in place. Then what to do? Then all the efforts are lost. So it's the cost to the project. So in this way, even when you build a building, even if you build an airport, you can actually see the dimensions which are required. As per the drawing, and if the dimensions are wrong, you can do the corrections there and there itself. So that way, technology can definitely assist in reducing the labor force. Sunil can add on to that.
But usually it is seen the other way around, no?
So what I
Technology.
can add is, there is numerous research done by various organizations which says using BIM and digital tools actually help projects save between 10 to 20%, right? Even if you take a bottom number of 10%, 10% saving in material, the big rocks, right? Steel, cement, like all those kind of big rocks. Imagine 10% saving on a large project, and that can definitely augment, any cost in terms of labor. Material, and in fact, if you, Mr. Giacomo was talking about, Mr. Puneet was talking about the airport project. Look at the MEP cost in an airport project. If you can save 10% of that cost, that could be huge saving, right? And that can offset any labor expenses that actually goes up or things like that.
In fact, usually it is seen the other way around, that once you're deploying technology which is cutting edge, it will come at a price, and it will actually prove to be expensive, more expensive than manual labor. But in this case, you're saying that it is the other way around.
10% is the minimum which you save. I agree with Sunil on that.
Anything more that you would like to add, Mr. Mishra?
Practically any technology, if the cost is more than your day-to-day cost, then nobody will use it. The technology becomes the proven technology when it is commercially viable to use that technology. If any technology is in market and people are using it, that means that by using that technology, you are saving your cost and you are increasing the accuracy and perfection of your end product. Then only the people will use technology.
Also, like, I don't know, this analogy, if I just, with last point, if you don't innovate as a human being, you become obsolete, right? And I think our whole idea, when we talk about, we have seen this in our generation. You look at BlackBerry, it gone out of business, right? Because there was no innovation. There other people came and look at photography, the Kodak itself, or typewriter Remington. It is not there because the company never innovated or thought that you don't need to, right? This will be something that would be in everybody's desk one day, but PCs replace that. So it is important that as human beings, as people, we actually are more productive on a daily basis. And for that, technology is a way out there, right? The whole notion that India is cheap, we have cheap labor is no more true. Right? Today.
No, India has cheap labor, that is a different case. But when you talk of a project saving, the tunes of 10% of the project cost, nowadays the project costs are about 15,000 crores, 20,000 crores.
Right.
It's big money.
Yep, absolutely.
And it helps in saving time, which is also equally important.
There is another aspect of it. Yes, that's correct.
Correct. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable insight on this very important subject. Thank you for making time for ETInfra's Autodesk event. Thanks a lot.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sunil, and thanks, Puneet.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.